Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you all to the fifth lecture of the series of control system. My name is Engineer Jafar Ali. I am your instructor for this course. Today is our fifth lecture, and this is the first part of the fifth lecture. We have divided the lecture into two parts, that is fifth A and fifth B. So today we'll be learning about some topics that is covered in fifth A. Let's start with the recapitulation of the previous lecture. As usually, you know that we have learned in the previous class about the translational motion, or you can say translational mechanical system. That what is translational mechanical system? This is a type of mechanical system in which the motion is basically in the linear direction in a straight line, and we have calculated the transfer functions of different systems that involved mass, spring, and damper. So these were the three things we looked about their analogies with the RLC circuit as well. That how these mechanical components corresponds to the operation of same as electrical networks. So we have done some numericals as well on that, that how this mechanical system correlates, not exactly but kind of, with the electrical systems. And we also did basically two different numericals, which involves one equation of motion and 2 degrees of freedom, or you can say two equation of motions, and in which if there is only one equation of motion, you can find the transfer function very easily from that equation. But if you are given with a mechanical system which involves 2 degrees of freedom, or there are two masses or two networks basically that are combined with some methodology, so we can write their two equations, and after you write it down their two equations, you can solve these simultaneously as well, if you have write down these two equations. So there are several methods by which you can solve to find the value of the unknowns. So we used Cramer rule for that, and we solved these two equations to find the transfer function. In the second case, that was in 2 degrees of freedom, was x2s, the displacement that is covered by the second mass divided by the input force that was applied on the first mass. So this was the transfer function of the second numerical, in which we discussed about the transfer function of a translational mechanical system. So that was all about the previous lecture. So in continuation to that, we will learn about rotational motion, rotational mechanical system in today's class, and we will learn about that what is rotational mechanical system and how you can find the transfer function of such rotational mechanical system. And with also we will do some numericals and derivations for that as well, that how you can use or you can find the transfer function for the system that has gears, and also you will be able to find out that what is the transfer function for the system with lossless gears. So these are the very common topics, and the reason for which I am teaching you this topic as well, because most of students ask me, sir, why do you teach mechanical systems in so much detail? Because this mechanical system is a part of electromechanical system, which comes into your domain when you work in field. So you cannot ignore a mechanical portion of a system, as you know that this cannot be separated. The working actually cannot be separated. You give input in the form of electrical, and the things or the process or the motor works in the form of mechanical, so you cannot neglect mechanical portion as well. So that is why I am giving you a little bit flavor of mechanical system, so that in the coming time, in the future, inshallah, you won't be facing any difficulty while working on electromechanical system. There are most of the students that ignore mechanical system, but they face many problems when they go to this industry, because they haven't combined these two as a whole. So that is why I will be teaching you a little bit of mechanical system in today's class as well. So let's start. What is rotational motion, rotational mechanical system? So you see, this is a kind of a mechanical system in which if you apply a force in clockwise or linear direction, the motion, or the, you can say, the torque will be produced. The motion, if the motion is produced, it will be a circular path, not a straight line as we saw in the translational motion, but it will be also producing some torque as well. So that is why this is known as rotational motion, and this is different from the translational motion. So that is why this is known as rotational mechanical system, which involves some kind of torque or velocity or angular displacement as well. So you know that torque, angular velocity, and torque, angular displacement, these are some important relations in which you will be using for mass, spring, and damper. And there is also a term called inertia. This basically mass, which was in the translational mechanical system, it is now converted into inertia. And the reason is because every you know about the first law of Newton, that if a body is going forward, it will continuously go forward unless and until some external force tries to stop it. So this is known as inertia. This is also known as first law of motion. But this kind of inertia is that about this is about the continuation of a motion of a mass. So if it is rotational, the mass become inertia in this context. So I hope you got the point that how this mass has become now inertia, and the remaining spring and damper remains the same, but instead of x, this is now there is now torque and theta. Theta is basically the angle at which the moving, and torque T is the torque, that is the turning effect of that spring or that mass or anything. And similarly, you will be seeing damper as it is was discussed in the translational mechanical system, but the only difference is instead of the displacement, it is now giving theta and torque. This was x of t and f of t in the previous translational mechanical system, but now the f have become torque, the force has become torque, and the displacement has become this theta. It means that in the translational motion you applied force and it covered some displacement x, and now in this case you will apply some torque, and the instead of displacement there will be some angle that which the body or the inertia or the mass will be moving. So there is some kind of relationship between these equations. You see that instead of f is equal to kx, this is now t becomes k phi. This is, you can see the analogy with the translational system as well. In the translational mechanical system, this was f is equal to kx, but now it has, the f has become torque and the x has become theta. Similarly, these equations are also there, and instead of mass, you see that there has the inertia. Instead of mass, this has become inertia. Instead of m, there is j, and instead of x, there is theta, basically, which is the angular, you can say angular displacement or anything. This is basically the angular displacement. So when inertia is multiplied with the derivative, twice of the derivative of the angular displacement, you can find the torque very easily. So after taking the Laplace of these equations, you can easily get the same equation, but instead of this m, there is now j. So this is the minute difference between the translational mechanical system and rotational mechanical system. I will repeat again for you. In translational mechanical system, you discuss about the force and the displacement, because the thing is linear. You apply a force in a linear direction, and the body covers some displacement in that direction or any opposite direction. But in rotational mechanical system, you apply torque, and the distance is not a displacement, actually it is basically the angular displacement. So this angular this x of t that was linear displacement has now shifted to angular displacement, and this linear force has now become angular force, or you can say torque. And these equations remain the same. Instead of force, you are getting torque, and instead of displacement you are getting angular displacement. All the other things approximately remains the same. Now coming towards a very interesting example, you can see that it is given in the book as well. If you want to solve many more examples from the book, you can go ahead. This is very good for your practice. It is asked from us that we have to find a transfer function that is theta 2 divided by ts. This is your system. This is your system, and if you apply some torque over here, it has asked you to find the value, or you find the theta 2 divided by the t. You have applied the torque over here. This is isolated and it is replaced by this diagram as well. So you can see that if you apply some torque over here, you will be seeing some angular momentum over here, angular displacement over here, and you have to find the transfer functions. Mean this is your output and this is your input, that is applied on the first mass on inertia. So you have to find this thing, that is O2 theta 2 output divided by your input, that is torque. So this is your transfer function, and they have asked us to find the value of the transfer function. So it is very easy. You can start with the same procedure as we did in the electrical system and the translational system, but first we have to take several things into account. This is basically a problem continued, not canned. It is continued. This is also continued. So you can see that in the same procedure as we did in the previous translational and electrical system, we have jotted down the first equation of the first loop, basically this loop. This, you can say that we have divided the system into some kind of electrical network as well. You can consider it as an electrical network, and for the first loop, or you can say for the first inertia J1, from, you can see this side, this is the first inertia J1 and this is second inertia J1. So the equation for the first inertia, that is J1, you can see there are different forces that are acting in the one direction. There is another force that acting in the opposite direction. So the total force will be becoming this. You can see that it is very easy. You have just joined these two things, that is the forces, all the forces acting on the J1 and all the forces that is acting on the J2, J1 in the opposite direction, and now you have added them in very simple manner. And if you see that this diagram, in this diagram I will show you and I will highlight you for that. You can see that in this diagram, this K2 and this TS, this is basically in same direction, and all these other are in the different direction. So these two will be coming on the one hand side and all the other remainings will be on the other hand side. So let's see, is it so? Yes, it is. You can see that this TS and plus K2 was one hand side, on the one hand side, and all the other three things was on left hand side. So after you have shifted this K2 over here, sign has become negative. So it is very easy to understand now. This is your first equation that you have achieved from this thing, that is all the forces that is acting on J1. So it is very easy. There are three forces over here, 1, 2, 3 on this hand side, and there are two forces over here. One force is, that is Kx, and one was the J1 by itself. So there was total 5 forces, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 5. And I told you already that these two were on the one side, was acting on the one direction, and all the other three was acting in another direction. So you have write it down the equation in this form. Similarly, you take the second inertia and you find that how much total parameters that are applied on this. So you can see that 3 was directed on the one hand side and 1 was directed on the other hand side. So after combining these all these four things, there was no torque. You can see there is no torque. We have applied the torque over here actually in this first inertia, and if you see that there will be 4, and in these 4 this one will be on the one hand side, this thing will be on one hand side because there is the direction of this is in clockwise, and all the other 3 will be on other hand side because it is counterclockwise. So you see after you shift this thing on the right left hand side, this has become minus. So this thing was equal to this thing, but if you shift this thing on the left hand side of the equation, you get minus k. So now you got two equations from here. The first one is this, and the second one is the above one. And by applying simply the same rule, the Cramer rule that we have discussed so many times, I suggest you to practice it by yourself as well. So after you find the value of theta 2s by solving these equations simultaneously or by any method, I prefer you to, I suggest you, I recommend you to apply Cramer rule, because that is more efficient and a good way to solve your technology problems, because you are a technologist, and I suppose that you will be able, you have to be able to solve things in mathematical form, and the most appropriate manner for this type of equations, to solve this type of equations, is basically matrices. So I suggest you to find this theta 2 by the using Cramer rule, and after you have find the theta 2, you just have to divide it by ts by using this equation. So if you find the value of theta 2 and you find the value of you have already given with the value of ts, you can easily divide it by this, and if you see that the overall transfer function has come out to be this thing, k divided by theta delta, sorry, and this delta means, you know about the delta. The delta is the same as was discussed previously. Let me write it down delta for you over here, that what is delta in a very easy way. So the delta for this kind of equation is basically, you have to write everything in terms of theta 1 and theta 2, theta 1 and theta 2, this is theta 2 and this is theta 1, and on the right hand side of the equation there will be ts, t of s and 0. So if this you want to find the value of this thing, so you have to put this thing over here. Theta 2 will be minus k. Similarly, from the second equation, theta 1 will be minus k. So from the second equation, theta 1 will be minus k, and theta 2 will be this thing, this whole thing that will be coming over here. So this is your basic matrix. Now if you want to find theta, this is delta, so you have to take the determinant of this first matrix. This is your first matrix, let's say this is A, so you have to find this matrix. And if you want to find theta 2, you have to find the value of this determinant, but instead of using k and this thing, you have to put this t and 0 over here to find the value of theta 2. So let's say that comes out to be k, and you have to divide that k by this determinant of this actual matrix. Let's say this is delta, this is A, so I have replaced A with delta, so this is basically your after divided by ts, you will get the value k divided by delta. Take a moment over here and try to solve this whole question by yourself. Let's see if you can find out the actual value of the delta and the transfer function, and it will be very good if you pause this video now and start the question with yourself and your register, and I will be very happy if you practice this now. Please pause the video and try it yourself just one time. It will be very easy for you to understand the coming questions and this question as well, and you will be seeing some very good questions, and I will be very happy to discuss these questions with you in the class as well. So I suggest you to pause this video now and keep practicing these questions at least 1 or 2 times until and unless you get very clear that how this theta and theta 2 and delta has come actually. So it will be very good for you. Let's pause the video and start to practice. This is very easy to solve. I suppose and I recommend you to solve it by yourself, so it will be much easier for you in the coming class that we will be discussing this topic. So I hope to see you in the class. And this is the first numerical that we have done about the rotational mechanical system, and in the coming class on the Thursday inshallah we will be discussing about some more examples, some in-depth examples of rotational mechanical system as well. So be prepared for that as well. The problem is mentioned in the next slide as well. If you want to do that by yourself, you can go with the flow. You can take these equations and write it down by yourself, and I will be very happy if you have done this as a practice by yourself. So let's see that what questions you come up with in the next class. I hope to see some good questions regarding these equations and these things, rotational mechanical system. And I repeat again, rotational mechanical system is same as translational mechanical system, but instead of force and linear displacement, we are talking about torque and angular displacement. All the other things that are mentioned here is approximately same as it was in translational mechanical system, except that from the mass, torque and theta. The theta is basically x in the translational. The torque here is basically the force in the translational mechanical system, and this J, this is basically inertia here, but it was mass in the translational mechanical system. So that's all for today. If you have any questions regarding that, you can put forward your queries, and you can ask me in the class as well. And if you will ask a good question, you will definitely get some bonus points as well. As I always say that the more you ask, the more you learn. I see you in the class. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.